In 1998, a surveyor measured an alpine meadow at 2.4 acres. He placed 12 wooden stakes around its perimeter, marked the boundaries, filed the paperwork. 8 years later, all 12 stakes were still there, but they were standing in forest, dense conifers, mature trees, 110 feet from the meadow's edge. The meadow had moved, or the forest had, or something else had happened that doesn't have a name. By 2014, those same stakes were 450 feet from the meadow. By 2019, 580 feet. The meadow kept shrinking, linear rate. Predictable, 0.2 acres per year. A ranger calculated when it would reach 0, summer 2020. Then he was transferred. His replacement was told, "Don't measure the meadow, just confirm it's still there." It's 2025 now. The meadow should be gone, but rangers still see it on patrol. A small clearing. Still there. Still shrinking. They write in their logs, "Meadow present." That's all. No numbers. No measurements. This is about 12 survey stakes standing in a forest, getting farther from a meadow every year, and rangers who stopped measuring, because eventually you measure 0. And then what? In June 1998, park surveyor David Torres conducted boundary survey of alpine meadow in the Northern Wilderness District. The survey was part of trail planning for a proposed backcountry route. Torres needed accurate meadow dimensions for environmental assessment. Torres and his crew established survey grid using GPS coordinates and physical markers. They placed wooden stakes at meadow boundaries, measured dimensions, calculated total acreage. The meadow was roughly oval. North-south axis measured approximately 450 feet. East-west axis measured approximately 380 feet. Total area calculated, 2.4 acres. Torres documented vegetation type, alpine wildflowers, native grasses, no tree growth within boundaries, dense conifer forest surrounding meadow on all sides, clear delineation between meadow and forest. Survey stakes were driven into ground at boundary points, 12 stakes total, each marked with surveyor's tape and identification codes. Stakes would serve as permanent reference points for future surveys. Torres filed his report in August 1998, Alpine Meadow 2.4 acres, suitable for trail routing along eastern edge. Minimal environmental impact anticipated. The proposed trail was approved. Construction completed in 1999. Trail routed along Meadow's eastern boundary as Torres recommended. For 8 years, the meadow remained documented at 2.4 acres. No additional surveys conducted. No reason to remeasure. Meadows are stable features. In May 2006, park surveyor Jennifer Kim conducted resurvey of Alpine Meadow. The survey was required for trail maintenance project. Kim needed current meadow dimensions to assess whether trail remained at appropriate distance from meadow edge. Kim located Torres's original survey stakes. All 12 stakes were still in place. Surveyor's tape faded, but identification codes readable. Stakes provided reference points for new measurements. Kim measured from survey stakes to current meadow edge. Discrepancies immediately apparent. Northern survey stake, 110 feet from meadow edge. Stake stood in dense forest. No meadow vegetation visible. Conifer trees, approximately 15 to 20 years growth, between stake and current meadow boundary. Eastern stake, 95 feet from edge, forest between stake and meadow. Southern stake, 130 feet from edge, dense tree cover. Western stake, 88 feet from edge, forest vegetation. All 12 original boundary stakes were now located outside current meadow boundaries, in forest, far from meadow edge. Kim measured current meadow dimensions. North-south axis, 380 feet. East-west axis, 310 feet. Total area, 1.8 acres. The meadow had shrunk by 0.6 acres, 25% smaller than 1998 measurement, in 8 years. Kim examined the area between original stakes and current meadow edge. dense forest growth. Conifers, soil analysis suggested 15 to 20-year-old trees. But in 1998, Torres had documented this area as meadow, open grassland, no trees. Kim reviewed Torres's 1998 survey photos. Clear images of survey stakes placed at meadow edge. Open meadow visible. No forest between stakes and meadow center. The 1998 photos matched Torres's measurements, 2.4 acres. Kim checked for evidence of logging, fire, or geological disturbance. Nothing. No char marks. No stumps. No erosion patterns. No landslide scars. The forest between original stakes and current meadow edge showed normal growth. Undisturbed. Kim filed a report in June 2006. Alpine Meadow resurveyed, 1.8 acres. Discrepancy with 1998 survey, 0.6 acres. Original survey stakes located outside current boundaries. No explanation for meadow contraction identified. Park Management reviewed Kim's report. Requested third-party verification. Independent surveyor contracted. Confirmed Kim's measurements. 1.8 acres. Original stakes in forest. Outside boundaries. Park ecologist Dr. Sarah Chen investigated, examined vegetation succession patterns, reviewed climate data, analyzed soil samples, found no natural mechanism for 25% meadow reduction in 8 years. Normal succession, 1 to 2% per decade. Observed rate, 25% in 8 years, 15 times normal rate. Chen's report concluded, meadow contraction rate inconsistent with known ecological processes, mechanism unknown. In January 2014, Park Management implemented quarterly monitoring program for alpine meadow. Rangers assigned to measure meadow every 3 months. Track shrinkage rate. Identify mechanism if possible. Ranger Michael Santos assigned to monitoring program. 4 measurements scheduled for 2014, March, June, September, December. March 2014 measurement, Q1, 1.6 acres. North-south axis, 350 feet. East-west axis, 290 feet. Original survey stakes now 220 feet outside current boundaries on average. June 2014 measurement, Q2, 1.4 acres. North-south, 330 feet. East-west, 270 feet. Stakes 280 feet outside boundaries. September 2014 measurement, Q3, 1.1 acres. North-south, 300 feet. East-west, 235 feet. Stakes 370 feet outside boundaries. December 2014 measurement, Q4, 0.9 acres. North-south, 270 feet. East-west, 210 feet. Stakes 450 feet outside boundaries. Santos calculated annual shrinkage, 0.7 acres lost in 2014, approximately 0.2 acres per quarter, linear rate. Since 1998, meadow reduced from 2.4 acres to 0.9 acres, 62% reduction in 16 years. If rate continued, complete disappearance projected by 2019. Santos filed quarterly reports documenting measurements. Each report noted, no evidence of fire, logging, disease, or geological disturbance. Vegetation between original boundaries and current edge showed normal forest characteristics. No visible mechanism for contraction. Park ecologist Dr. Chen reviewed quarterly data. Confirmed linear shrinkage rate. Approximately 0.2 acres per year since 2006. Consistent pattern. No explanation. Chen noted, forest occupies area where meadow existed. Trees appear established. Normal growth. Meadow contracts into smaller space. Former meadow area, now indistinguishable from surrounding forest. Unknown mechanism. Santos continued quarterly measurements through 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Shrinkage rate remained consistent. approximately 0.2 acres per year. By December 2018, 0.4 acres. Original stakes now 530 feet outside boundaries. Santos projected complete disappearance by late 2020 or early 2021. In March 2019, Santos conducted routine quarterly measurement. Meadow measured 0.3 acres. North-south axis 180 feet. East-west axis 110 feet. Original survey stakes now 580 feet outside current boundaries. Santos calculated projection. Linear shrinkage rate 0.2 acre per year. Current size 0.3 acres. Timeline to zero 1.5 years. Complete disappearance projected September to October 2020. Santos filed report including projection. Alpine Meadow will reach zero acreage by Q4 2020 based on current shrinkage rate. Park Superintendent Emily Reeves reviewed Santos's March 2019 report, noted disappearance projection, scheduled meeting with Santos. Reeves asked Santos, "What happens when Meadow reaches 0 acres?" Santos said, "Unknown. Theoretically, Meadow ceases to exist, but mechanically, we don't understand the contraction. It might stop before 0. Or continue past 0 into negative values, which is impossible." Reeves asked, "Can you predict what we'll observe in 2020? Santos said, "If rate continues, we'll measure progressively smaller area until Meadow is too small to survey accurately. Eventually, we'll measure 0. But I don't know if Meadow actually disappears, or if measurements become meaningless." In August 2019, Reeves issued directive Santos would be transferred to different duty station effective October 2019. Replacement ranger would be assigned to Northern District. Santos asked about continued Meadow monitoring. Reeves said, "Monitoring program will be discontinued." Santos completed final measurement September 2019. Meadow, 0.25 acres. Projection, 0 by summer 2020. Santos filed final report. Transferred October 2019. Replacement Ranger Alex Morrison, assigned to Northern District, November 2019. During orientation, Reeves briefed Morrison on district features. When Morrison asked about alpine meadow monitoring, Reeves said, "Do not measure shrinking meadow. Do not calculate shrinkage rate. If you observe the meadow during patrols, document that it's present. Do not record dimensions." Morrison asked why. Reeves said, "Measurement protocol has been discontinued for that feature." Morrison conducted winter patrol February 2020, observed shrinking meadow. Small clearing visible. Estimated visually, very small, maybe 100 feet across. Did not measure. Documented in patrol log. Shrinking meadow observed, present. Morrison has conducted routine patrols past shrinking meadow quarterly since 2020. Always documents, meadow present, never measures, never calculates size. Current park protocol for shrinking meadow, effective 2019. Shrinking meadow will not be measured or surveyed. Rangers will not establish survey grids, place boundary markers, or calculate acreage. Do not calculate shrinkage rate based on historical data or current observations. Do not project timeline for meadow disappearance or estimate date of 0 acreage. If personnel observe shrinking meadow during routine patrols, document presence in patrol logs. Entry format, meadow present. Do not record dimensions, boundary locations, or area estimates. Original survey stakes from 1998 remain in place but are not referenced for measurement purposes. Historical survey data, 1998 to 2019, remains in archives but will not be updated with current measurements. Rangers assigned to Northern District are briefed. Observation without measurement. Confirm meadow exists. Do not quantify size. Shrinking meadow was 2.4 acres in 1998. Survey stakes marked boundaries. Clear delineation between meadow and forest. In 2006, 1.8 acres. Stakes 300 feet outside boundaries. In forest. By 2014, 0.9 acres. Shrinkage rate, 0.2 acres per year. Stakes 450 feet from edge. In 2019 to 0.25 acres. Projection, 0 by 2020. Stakes 580 feet outside boundaries. Rangers stopped measuring in 2019. Protocol, observe, but don't measure. Document presence, not size. Since 2019, rangers have observed shrinking meadow quarterly, small clearing visible, still there, still shrinking. Survey stakes now 600 plus feet from edge, getting farther every year. Where does a meadow go when it shrinks? Into the forest? Forest grows where meadow was. Trees established, normal growth, meadow contracts, smaller space, less area. Under the ground? Soil analysis shows normal meadow characteristics, no subsidence. No geological change, or just into less and less space? 2.4 acres becomes 1.8, becomes 0.9, becomes 0.3, becomes 0.25, becomes what? Rangers stopped measuring. Because measurements led to projection, projection led to date, date when meadow would measure 0. And what happens when you measure 0? When survey equipment records no area, when boundaries contract to a point. Rangers don't measure anymore. They observe. Confirm meadow is there, small clearing, still visible, still present, size unknown. Because eventually they'd measure 0, and the meadow would still be there, and the measurement would be impossible, and rangers would have to explain how something can exist with 0 area. Shrinking meadow exists. Rangers confirm it quarterly. Size, not measured. Projection, not calculated. Disappearance date, not predicted. The survey stakes stand in forest, 600 feet from meadow edge, marking boundaries that no longer exist. Getting farther from the meadow every year.